What's going on, everybody? This is Fry. So today I'm doing a little bit of a different type of video today. I am going to be explaining the top glitches that exist in PvZ Heroes, particularly since the December balance patch. I want to just start the video before I get into that these are not like complaints. I actually have really been enjoying PvZ Heroes, especially since the balance patch. I love the general idea of it, but as you change cards, there is going to be some bugs that it just seems like it's really taking a long time for them to get solved. So I'm just going to go through them one by one. I'm not going to build up to the most important one. I'm going to start with the most important one because you guys already know exactly what it is, and it is a card that is bugged and completely game breaking to the point where I uncrafted all my copies of it, even though I have the full collection. Of course, it is quarterly bonus. This is the biggest problem in the entire PvZ Heroes, more than some of the bugs that even like soft lock the game. This card is extremely overpowered, as you all know. And it doesn't even do what it says on the card, so I am still holding on to hope and counting this as a bug. This says strength of a zombie becomes 4, and it does a bonus attack, but really what this is doing is it's adding 4 to its attack and then doing a bonus attack, which is completely overpowered. If you have any little tiny, even like a 2-attack minion on the board, it means it's doing like 6 damage that turn and then 6 during the attack phase, which is like an OTK. It's not just the fact that quarterly bonus is super OP and it's really oppressive to face it. There is another problem that it has is how it affects the meta. Now, plants really need to just be always playing top tier decks and always be running cards like Wingnut and Pecanolith to counter the quarterly bonus. And it really limits the types of decks that plants can play, but also it's just made the game so sweaty. This has really been the most try-hard, sweaty era of PvZ Heroes because, again, people just feel like they have to play the top tier in order to counter quarterly bonus. What I would really like to see quarterly bonus be nerfed to is just to do exactly what it says on the card. Regardless of what the power of the card that you play this on, it'll become 4 and do a bonus attack. And I think on weaker minions, that will actually still be a viable card, even though this costs 4. In general, this is going to be outclassed by a much more useful card, which is Lurch for Lunch, which is a lot cheaper and just does a bonus attack. But again, if you're focusing on a lot of small minions, especially things with 1 attack, like Teleportation Zombie, Space Time, and you want like a little punching finisher in decks like that, I think this actually will see a lot of use, and it really would be balanced if it did what it says on the card. Now, there are a couple of other cards that are really important that need nerfs, namely Fig and Mustache Waxer, and maybe several others. But again, there's nothing that even touches quarterly bonus. And again, this is a bug because it doesn't do what it says on the card, and it totally should. The next card that we're going to be getting into, number 2, is going to be Nibble. The reason this is so important at the top of the list here is because this actually soft locks the game. So there's a couple of bugs with this. First of all, if you play this and you destroy a plant that has an on-death ability, the game will soft lock, meaning no player is going to be able to play cards, no one can pass their turn, and the game just, stays like that until one player concedes. Cards that have an on-death ability would be something like Galactic Cactus, when destroyed, or Primal Potato Mine, it also is when destroyed, or even like Astrocado, that draws you a Astrocado pit when it's destroyed. So any cards like that, if they are destroyed by Nibble, it soft locks the game. There's also another little bug in Nibble, and that's the fact that this is going to be conjuring gourmet cards that cost 3 or less. It doesn't actually say this on the card, but this is never going to be giving you the big King of the Grills or the Garg Feast, sort of like Cheese Cutter would, which gives you gourmet cards. This is only conjuring things that cost 3 or less. I don't think that's a problem. I don't know if that has to be fixed, but it should totally say that on the card to match the text. Moving right along, number 3 is the no match found glitch. Now, I did recently post a video telling you how to fix that. You basically have to uninstall your game and then change your phone's language to English and reinstall the game, and that would fix it. More details in the video that I posted dedicated to that. But yeah, people who are not running PvZ Heroes in English, if you're running in different languages, and they just go and they press play for an online match. It just says no match found. It's a huge glitch preventing a lot of people from playing PvZ heroes. Hopefully the video I posted will solve that a little bit, but really very urgently needs to be fixed. The next card that is super bugged, almost to the point of being unusable, it is to the point of being unusable, is in the Beastly class. It's Nurse Garg. So Nurse Garg, this is supposed to be a super impactful card that when it or any other Gargantuars do any damage, both directly to your opponent's face or to just a plant, they'll heal for that much, and really that would make Nurse Garg, I think, an actual staple meta, in Garg decks, because it can really make any amount of Gargs make you come from behind. Right now, what Nurse actually does is when it itself hits your opponent's face, it will do the healing. But if it itself hits a plant, it's not going to do any healing. And if other Gargantuars do any damage both to your opponent's face and to a plant, it's also not healing. It's only healing when it hits face itself. So that's definitely something that needs to be fixed. It is not what it says in the card, and really just makes Nurse way worse than it even was, because most times it's not going to be hitting face. It will be hitting a plant. So it makes this card basically unusable. Number 5, we are going to get into Wizard Garg, a really fun card that was changed. Not only will this be giving all Gargantuars Bullseye, but when you play this, it transforms another zombie into a random zombie that costs 1 more, essentially giving you a third leap. I'm really looking forward to making like a new Conjure Leap deck with both Transformation Station and Leap, and Wizard Garg would be giving you an extra leap. The problem is the card is super bugged. First of all, it doesn't really do what it says. It says transform another zombie, but it's really transforming another random zombie. You're not able to target the Wizard Gargantuar when it's leaping, and it really has the same text as transform a zombie evolutionary leap. Obviously you can target it. You're not able to target it, and that kind of itself already ruins the card, because leap decks really rely on you being able to target that one expensive, 6, 7, or 8 cost card in order to leap it and win the game like that. The fact this is random, it makes it a lot less useful. There's actually 2 more bugs that exist with Wizard Garg, and I'll show you them one at a time here. The first one is right over here, as you can see. The Wizard Garg has a bug that when it is when you play a Wizard Garg on the board, and there's just a Wizard Garg there, it doesn't actually do anything. A Wizard Garg can't leap another Wizard Garg, which would be very useful, because it's a 6 cost card. Leaping into a 7 would be great. I think the reason this bug happened is because there was a bug where Wizard Garg was leaping itself when played, and the way they fixed that is kind of just resulted in a Wizard Garg not being able to target another Wizard Garg. And again, that really ruins the card, because if you're running 6 cost cards in a leap deck, you have to be able to leap those cards too with a Wizard Garg. So yeah, that's really annoying. There's actually another bug with this. Shout out to Tribal for providing me with this footage over here. Actually, this was Boris who gave me this footage. I'll show it to you right now. So this is a bug where if you play your Wizard Garg into a gravestone, it soft locks the game. Like if there's another minion on the board, it's going to be in the gravestone trying to leap those cards, and you just can't do anything. Look, you can't even like pass your turn. You can't play any more cards. You can't even like press the button and let the plants have a turn. It's kind of like the Nibble glitch where it just completely soft locks the game. So that's obviously a huge bug. Thank you again to Boris for providing me with that footage. Yeah, so really buggy card, and I hope that gets fixed. All right, moving right along, number 6, the Octo Zombie is bugged. Octo Zombie, the new ability is that it can make a little Octo pet in a lane. Now, let me show you exactly what the bug is. This is the footage that Tribal sent me. And as you can see in this scenario, if we would play Octo Zombie, it should just make the Octopet in the water, an amphibious minion, and there really should be no problems. The only problem is that if you have a gravestone on the board, the Octo Zombie for some reason has the option of targeting the gravestone, and if you click on the gravestone lane, you actually lose your Octo pet completely. As you see, the game's just progressing with no Octo pet, even though there is room for it in the water. So make sure you're not clicking on that gravestone lane out of curiosity when you're playing your Octo Zombie, but that is a huge bug and it needs to be fixed. Okay, we are moving right along to a couple more minor glitches. We have the Winter Melon. Now, Winter Melon is a card that's buffed and is really useful the way it is. It still doesn't exactly do what it says on the card, though. This says, when played, freeze a zombie, which sounds like you're going to be able to target the zombie. Right now, Winter Melon is not targeting it. It's a random zombie. It really should just say freeze a random zombie or make it able to target a zombie, kind of like, Chili Pepper says freeze a zombie. So you should be able to target it. So it doesn't do what it says in the card. Moving right along is actually a really big one, and it is the Huge Giganticus Ultimate. Now, this actually has two glitches too. First of all, when you play Terraformer 10,000, so again, it's conjuring you an environment and a trick, and making all your environments and trick cost one less, but it's also making the plants' environments and tricks in their hand cost one less, which is not what it says on the card. Some people think maybe that's actually a good way to balance it, because otherwise this would be like really overpowered, but at least, again, it should say this on the card that it's all environments and tricks in both players' hands are going to cost one less. There is another glitch, though, that definitely needs to get taken care of, is that the trick that you conjure is sometimes a superpower. It can literally give you super brain super or a teleportation station, which is really problematic. And again, it's so overpowered if your superpower is conjuring you a card plus another random superpower. It's got to be a bug, and they could just fix that just to take the superpowers out of the pool of the tricks that you can get. Moving right along, we got Gatekeeper, another card, again, I'd really love to include as a fun card in some of these fun, maybe conjure leap decks. So this is going to be conjuring a card for both players each turn, and then cards both players conjure cost one less. It doesn't really do that, though, because it's only the card that the Wormhole Gatekeeper conjures cost one less. What it says here is that all cards that both players conjure cost one less. This effectively would give you an extra space time in your decks, because again, if you're running a lot of other conjure cards, you'll get synergy, because now every card you conjure will cost one less. I'd like to actually see it do what it says on the card, because that would be a lot of fun. I just love the fun conjure cards, so hopefully they'll fix that soon. The next card that is bugged is Wannabe Hero. This is a small bug, but it sometimes makes a big difference. So the way the text is written is it says, heal 3, then this gets +1 health for every health that your hero has. And what this really is doing is these two abilities are flipped around. Is that first this is getting equal to your current amount of health. So let's say if you have 15 health, this will be a 6/15, and then you're gaining 3 more health, and you're going up to 18. What really should happen is that it'll put you up to 18 first, and then the Wannabe Hero will see you have 18 health and copy that amount, not the amount you previously had. So a little bit inconsistent what it says on the card. I hope they fix that too. Next, we have the Solar Flare Super. So this says, due to damage, you get +2 sun. This still has the old text. They experimented with this for a while, and it has since been reverted to due to damage, and you get +1 sun every turn for the rest of the game. So the text should do, the card should do what it says on the text of the card. Another little minor glitch that I don't think is such a big deal, but it seems like it's been annoying a lot of people, again, just because of the inconsistency, is Water Balloons. Water Balloons was buffed to a very good card now. 2 costs, it's -2/2, but it was sort of given the condition that it's only going to be able to hit non-amphibious. Right now, Water Balloons can hit amphibious minions. I don't think this is a problem. I don't mind the fact the Solar class has a way of dealing with toxic waste imp. But yeah, I don't really think this should be fixed. I just think they should get rid of the non-amphibious zombie condition. Just any zombie gets -2/2, and then you have this. And again, this is not an overpowered card in its current state. It should just be fixing the text. Next one, also that is, I don't know if this is a bug in the text or a bug in the card itself, but Mime Garg says untrickable, and it's not. This can totally be targeted by tricks. I know they nerfed it. They were experimenting with this having a lot of health, and they nerfed it, and I really don't mind this having a trickable. I don't think Mime Garg is super overpowered, especially with the lower health it has now. But, either it should not say untrickable, or it should actually be untrickable in game. And the last one, which is a quality of life glitch, but it does sort of make a difference, is the fact that whenever you conjure a card in the game, it always says on the text where you conjured it from. If you get it from a space-time, it'll say conjured from space-time, conjured from Eureka. They didn't add that text into the new conjure cards that they added. For example, cross-pollination or regifter, which is a newly conjuring card on the zombie side. When you get the card from it, it doesn't say conjured from. It's just kind of important because sometimes it's really confusing when you see a card in your hand and you're like, where did I get that from? Or especially when your opponent plays it, there is a little bit of text right when they play it, it's conjured from, just to be able to keep track of the cards and just not be like completely surprised and have to think every time you see a card that the opponent really shouldn't be able to play. Guys, cut the music. Number 15. There's a huge bug. I can't believe I forgot this one. Thank you, Twitch chat, for spamming that until I saw it. Oh, I knew I was missing something, man. Instead, guys, Unthawed Viking was buffed to actually be a viable card. I love what they did with this. What it says is it should freeze all plants here, whether it's in the water, on the ground lane. You play this, it'll freeze a plant. Teleporting this card in could be an extreme value. I really want to try that deck, besides for the fact you can freeze everything if you teleport onto a pirate. Right now, Unthawed Viking does nothing. When you play it in front of a lane, even in the amphibious lane, which is where it used to freeze, it does not freeze any plants there on played if you don't do the evolution. And again, this really kills the card. Like, this really, I think, would be awesome with its ability, and right now it's really not. All right, guys, one more I forgot to mention is also Sea Garg, which quite frankly is really overpowered. This just says when any zombie enters any lane, that zombie gets 1/1. But what's happening with Sea Garg is it itself is also gaining 1/1. And I mean, Sea Garg is kind of OP. I'm not going to say it's super oppressive, so I don't know if this should do what it's doing now, or it should definitely match, though. The card should do what it says on the card. So if it says it's not buffing itself, it shouldn't buff itself. And if it is buffing itself, it needs to say that. Alright guys, that is going to be all for now. If you know of any bugs that I haven't mentioned in this video, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace, this is Fry.